At this time, I'd like to open the meeting of the Carver Conservation Commission for October 24th, 2018. First order of business is some appointments and discussions.
Yeah, that didn't make it on the agenda,
Yes.
but yeah, okay.
Right, so, well, we have first Alyssa Poole, 22 Old Center Street. Is she
That
present?
was a question whether she was going to come. I guess she didn't come.
Maybe she didn't come. Okay. The Eagle Scout campout on the Cole property. And is there anybody representing them?
No, they just wanted me to let you know they want to do a camp out
On 11/2?
November 2nd to the 4th.
Same place they did the last time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we arranged to have the porta-johns brought out, and they're all excited. And we're going to be invited to a party for
But you're excited
Kyle.
about camping out or using the porta-john?
Oh, I'm not excited.
I'm going to tell the Girl Scouts where they campaign. Maybe they'll get raided.
Oh, Jesus.
But anyway, he just wanted us to know because he likes us, you know. He likes us. So he's going to clean the trails.
Okay.
All right, good.
And our third item, which is not on the agenda, but is some discussion with Mr. David Folsom, 13 Beaver Dam Road. If you'd come up, please, and sign in.
Should be interesting. Sign in, sir.
Hi, Mr. Folsom. It's come to our attention that there's been some activity on your property at 13/19 Beaver Dam Road, and we wondered if you could, what you could tell us about.
I had some dead trees out by the road.
Right.
They've been dead for a few years. Every time it snows, they end up in the road. The DPW cleans them up. I had the opportunity to use a machine to cuff them down and lay them out on the ground. I cleaned the river out while I was there, just to keep everything moving. I might plant a few blueberry bushes there, maybe, just to keep the ground from eroding, and that was pretty much it.
Okay. Well, you have to realize that any activity like that has to
Did you
be
go
brought
see
to
that?
the attention of the Conservation Commission,
Okay?
because it's operating next to wetlands, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
So-
because you're right next to the stream, and then there's wetlands that are kind of right
Behind
as
it,
the
so-
stream flows into it. Well, we saw the path into the woods, so we
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah, the
what.
path, there's been
what's
paths
going
through
on.
there. There's been old logging roads since I moved in 19
Yeah.
years ago, and I've just been maintaining that culvert
Yeah.
all this time because I have the means to do so, and that's just part of it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't look like there's been any serious injury,
No,
so.
yeah, so it was somebody, called
Right.
me and told me, and so.
I have no plans on
Yeah. not-
Okay.
no
building a
plans on-
40B there or making a strip mall. Just-
42 unit subdivision.
I just don't want the trees in the road because
Yeah.
you guys got to come clean them up all winter and the culvert when the,
Oh, that's
branches
branches
get in
the fire
there.
department.
yeah, the branches get in the culvert and it backs it all up and gets all,
Yeah, so if you are going to do
flooded.
any more work, can you just call me and let me know? Because there's, a couple people that drive by there regularly, and we, need to know if, and maybe I don't know if you might want him to
We
file
just
if he
need to
does
take a
anything
look,
else,
yeah.
or.
If you decide to do more work, just let us know, we'll come out, take a quick look, probably be fine, et cetera.
the only other thing I was going to do was cut up the dead trees that are there
Mm-hmm.
and just get them out of there and when I can afford it, put blueberry bushes in. I figure that'll keep the ground together by the edge of the
Right,
road
okay.
and they won't grow into the road, so.
And let's see.
We like that.
We have a charge for that, two quarts of blueberries?
Geez, you're going to a party, you're getting blueberries? I got to get on this
Good
committee.
gig, don't knock it.
Jeez.
Okay,
After you cut the trees, when you're ready to do the planting, just give Brooke a call.
yeah.
All right,
And just let her know that that's what you're doing, so that when the complaint
Right.
comes in,
okay.
that's the bottom line.
Figured.
When the phone rings off the hook, because you're trying to,
We need an answer.
And it happened to be one of the selectmen, so.
we need to have an answer for it.
That's one of the.
Because then we get spanked if we don't. It's like, well, what the hell are you doing?
All right.
Okay,
We blame it
thanks,
on Jim.
thanks for
Okay,
your,
yeah.
All
Thank
right,
you
so
for
I can
coming.
go ahead and
Yeah.
get rid of the
Yes.
dead wood, and if I'm gonna plant something, give you a call.
Just let her
Yep.
know.
Yeah, thank
All
you for
right.
coming.
You don't
Gotcha.
plan on
Thank
going
you.
back into the
No.
stream or anything?
Whatever was there when I moved in is the only thing that I've
Okay.
kept up on.
That's
All right?
fine.
Okay.
Yep, thanks.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too.
okay. Now, other business. 22 Old Center Street, septic repair.
Oh, that was one, yep, just a septic repair.
Uh-huh,
Kevin told me about, went out and looked at it.
okay.
I think it was actually it was over, I think it was like 75 feet.
That's the
So
same
that's
address
something
as this Alyssa Poole, who was the, come in, or is it?
22
Yeah, it
Olds.
is.
Well, okay, yes, it is. I'm sorry. Yes, who was buying the house. So she was thinking of buying it. So she wanted to know if she could, put like a lawn in the back. So I just went over, took a quick look. I said, why don't you just come in and talk to the commission about it? We'll all come out and look at it. But she wasn't really sure if she was going to buy the house or what they were going to do. So she's probably still,
Okay.
Well, if it's,
but I told her.
if it's within 100 feet of,
Right.
she just has to file a
Right.
notice of intent or something.
That's what I told her. She knows there's
Okay.
wetlands back there and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now, 14 Shore Road, tree cutting request. We did go
That
and look
was
at
the
that,
one we went and looked at.
right?
Yeah.
And we
And
approved
he
it.
had them all marked,
Yeah.
the 4 by the house.
Yeah, they're
with
four
all four
four
pine
large trees that are within about 10 feet of the house, and would be a bit of a disaster if they came down.
No, we're next to it. It's right.
So,
if you're facing
okay,
the-
let's see now, COC requests, 162 Plymouth Street.
Oh, this was the
COC.
solar.
Yep,
I have some pictures of it. You and I took a ride by there. This was the one, for the house.
Behind
You
the
wanna take a
swimming
look?
pool down there?
Yeah.
Is that the one on Plymouth Street?
Yeah, the one that we,
Down at the bottom of the hill there? Okay.
yep.
It's all done?
Yep, they're all set. So it looks good. Here's another one if you want.
Did you go look at it?
Yep,
yeah, we pulled in, walked around with it, Karen, yeah. If you want to take a look at the,
They put a fresh driveway in?
yeah, it's very simple.
Remember that.
It's not a large array. Yeah.
All right.
yeah, we give them a variance for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was up on Uplands, anyhow.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. The wetlands are kind of like way, but yeah. It's not a big deal. It's like only 35 modules.
There's no problem. Okay, that looks
And
good.
the wetlands way down here, and there's all this, it was,
Nobody sees
there's all this like brush. I mean, nothing's going
I like
anywhere.
that.
It's done. It's all stabilized.
Okay, the other item for CFC request is
I will have you sign this one.
309 Tremont.
309
Is there a
Tremont.
motion to approve that COC?
Oh, yes, we have to make a motion.
Okay, yes, we should have a motion to approve that CFC. So what,
Make a motion to approve the COC for 162 Plymouth Street, DEP SE 126565 as written.
I will second that.
it's been moved and seconded to issue a COC request, or COC for 162 Plymouth Street. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass unanimous. Now on to 309 Tremont Street.
Yep. That was one we looked at today.
And
That was for
This is
the,
that,
and
yes.
I talked to him about putting the posts up, and he came
Right.
up and bought some plaques to put on the side and to put out in the back.
Marvelous.
Oh, this was the
That was the,
contracted
yeah,
bids.
yeah.
5 of them?
Jamie?
Yeah.
There was Jamie?
Oh, that's Jacob. Wrong guy.
Wrong guy. I
It's the J.
apologize.
Okay,
So, yeah, she came, picked up the plaques today.
Right.
And put them up and let me know, and we can take a look at them.
Yes, I'm sorry, thanks.
You're not going to issue the COC until after the plaques are up, or?
How pending
No,
the plaque is that?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, well, she bought them today, and he said he'd put them up right away. I mean, he was
can do it.
agreed to it.
Motion can be pending the,
I think we can just pass the motion. They're not going to sit on the signs.
this is true.
He said he'd take pictures of them and send me a pic. I'm sure he'll do it.
All right.
All right, I'm
Make a
good with
motion,
He
we
did a nice job
approve
of
the COC for 309 Tremont Street, DEP SE 126533 as written.
that. I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to issue a COC for 309 Tremont Street. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Any opposed? That's passed unanimous.
we'll do the minutes at the end so we don't delay everybody.
Yeah, it's time for our first hearing. So we'll postpone the minutes to the end. So, new hearings. And our first one is 52 Bunnies Road, DEP SE 126-570. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public meeting will be held at 7:15 p.m. on Wednesday, October 24th, 2018, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the notice of intent for the proposed construction of an addition onto the existing house. A portion of the addition, approximately 288 square feet, will be within the 65-foot buffer zone to Bartlett Pond. The existing house, approximately 360 square feet, is currently within the 50-foot buffer. A variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw is requested to allow the structure within 65 feet of the pond. The project is located at 52 Bunnies Lane, Carver, Mass., map 109, lot 109P-12-R. All interested parties are invited to attend.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody, you're representing them?
That's
Right,
Jake.
okay. Okay. Jake Bragley, okay. So,
So I don't know if you
Yes,
remember this one we gave
Yeah.
him a COC for the old one to close the old file out,
Right.
because nothing was ever done.
right.
And then Jacob came in and spoke to us informally about wanting to do an addition onto the, I mean, everything is like within the 65, pretty much, the existing
Right.
house, most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Jacob came and talked to us informally about doing an addition, so.
Right.
That's the plan that I gave you, yeah. But I think you have a bigger one, right?
Yes.
A bigger plan, we can just.
And we looked at this, right?
Yes.
So if you
Yeah,
look here, we've
long
got the
time ago.
65-foot setback. So most of the original house, except for that kind of front portion, falls within it. So I'm proposing to do an addition to the side. Half kind of falls past the 65 and half falls before the 65.
What is the size of the addition?
320 square feet. It's 16 by 20. So the length of the side of the house is 20 feet. It's going to bump out 16 feet.
What about is the septic system at all involved in this?
It's way out back. by
The
what
septic
it says.
system's complete.
It's way,
It's down here.
Yeah, we had seen that. That's existing, right? Oh,
Yes.
there was one, you're gonna obviously
That
improve
was my
one, or-
question. That was my question. Are you plan on doing any updates to the septic system?
That's recent.
yeah, you had the repair.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's a new septic system?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Yeah, the previous system was just an old.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a little
like,
tiny,
it's probably a
it's a little
cesspool.
tiny house
Yeah.
anyway, right? It's a
Oh,
small
yeah,
house.
that
Yeah, it
was
was
small.
360.
That was tiny as right.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
so we didn't see any problems with this, did
No.
we?
No,
No?
no, I don't.
So do we want to close the hearing?
I make a motion that we close the hearing on 52 Bunnies Road.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to close the hearing for 52 Bunnies Road, DEP SE 126-570. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, pass unanimous.
Yeah, I think I put, would you be opposed to putting in a couple of our conservation plaques?
Of course.
They're on like, they're on, wooden
4 by
posts, and they
4.
just say, wetlands, no
Oh,
further,
past
yeah.
assistance? Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I can talk to you about that.
Yeah.
But where
Yeah,
do you
just a
want
couple of them. Down probably, they wouldn't be in the 65, obviously, it could be through the middle of the house. But I was thinking down, closer,
Right in the living room.
first one in your bedroom?
probably like 25 feet up from the pond, just because if someone else buys the house, you know,
Okay.
I'm throwing all their junk into the, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So I can talk to you about those.
perfect, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
So
Jake.
maybe a couple of them, you
Yeah.
say? Two?
Yeah, the 50-foot setback area? Yeah, put it right through.
Yeah,
there.
like
Yeah, put
from
it at
the,
the 50, it's
Right
marked.
on the 50-foot setback area.
And then a
That'll
short
work.
one for your kitchen table.
Okay.
Coasters,
That'll work. Do not step over this line.
Is that a new patio you're putting in?
So it was partly existing and I repaired it. So,
I remember that.
I think I put six back.
Walter Hewitson did the same, wow.
It's a small, tiny area you're gonna have.
So do we see any reason
25 feet.
to further discuss this, or shall we just
No, is
pass it
anybody,
and approve?
anybody here?
Nobody's,
No.
they're beating down the doors.
No
Okay.
neighbors?
Okay.
Nobody?
I gave him blueberries for free.
That'll do it. Works in this
Okay.
board.
So
Plan on
let's have a
getting-
motion to
Putting any blueberry bushes?
issue a, what's it, determination?
No, it's order of conditions.
Order of
Yep.
conditions, okay.
I'll make a motion that we issue an order of conditions, 52 Bunnies Road, DEP SE
Is it
126570,
road or lane?
with
It's road.
the following changes, with, I think you would put down 25 feet. We're thinking like
Well, 50's
three
kind of,
plaques,
Okay,
just so that they're not, in your way, but
okay.
that'd be all right?
Yeah, not in the living room. You put,
Do you want them on trees or just like
No, they come on a
freestanding?
post.
They come on a
They come on a
post.
Oh,
post.
okay.
They're $400 a piece, so
No.
they're really
They don't
nice.
actually come in a post. We have the plaques, but you gotta find the post.
yeah, that's a new way we can make
They're gonna
money.
give you the post. $3.95 each. I'm
Gold-plated
sorry.
toilet seats too, right?
I think 3 is not outrageous.
No.
Brooke had
that'd
put
be-
down
there's
like
six.
25
I remember that lot.
It's kinda
Beautiful
close
lot.
together,
You
so.
should have those up.
So you want them 50 feet?
No, at the 50-foot mark
At the
50-foot
50-foot
right.
mark,
from the, from the,
Shoreline.
put them evenly dispersed along the property.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but you don't have to have one right outside the door, you know what I'm saying? Just
Okay.
in the yard so that everybody knows that's where the mark is.
yeah, it's a pretty steep drop-off, correct?
Mm.
I
It is, yeah.
recall?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the higher up it is,
Yeah.
the more visible it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Okay.
If you want people to
Yep.
notice it, especially if there's
Yeah,
a
don't
sale
put 'em all
later on.
together. All right.
One big clump.
So,
I do.
I'll second that. I'll second Alan's motion.
Cards and then a list of people.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah,
So.
great, thank you. Perfect.
All right, you made the motion,
made
right?
the
I
motion.
second.
yeah. So it's been moved and seconded to issue an order of conditions for Bunny's Road, DP SE 126-570. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
Okay,
Thank you.
Where are the blueberries?
Next year, next year.
Oh, see how you are?
so 3.
All right.
Yeah, 3.
Oh, Jacob Brady. Brady, B-R-A-L-E-Y.
How's the B&B doing?
Great.
That's your B&B, right?
Which one?
How's that doing?
What B&B?
Never know what's in there.
What B&B?
They got a little bed and breakfast on Rochester Road. They came before,
Oh.
for us for that. And planning.
Yeah, we got people from,
Oh, nice.
Really?
Terrific.
That's good.
And do you
They probably came
take
to
them
go.
right out to see cranberry harvesting?
Yeah.
I show them one of the bogs that is down behind our home.
Right, Weston's or the Annulus?
That's Hannulus bog.
Yeah, Annulus.
They probably came to go to Edaville.
Yeah.
Did they?
Good families that comes by to
Yeah.
Well, then maybe you get them back for the winter when they have all the lights up and everything else, you know?
Yeah.
That's good, though. Good for you.
Trees have been taken down.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Oh, you know you had a bed and breakfast?
Yeah, right on Rochester Road.
Trees as well.
I think they're coming to you from the Near East to visit the
Yeah, he
Richards
said
Fair.
he's had some either Chinese or Japanese people have come here, yeah. Just,
Okay. Next,
in any case.
Okay, so
26 South Main Street, DP SE, no number.
Oh, we do have a number, actually. We didn't,
Right.
when I did the agenda, but it's,
126-0571.
yep, I knew that.
5, so.
We just got it on Monday.
Yep, I did.
Okay, notice is hereby given in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:30 PM on Wednesday, October 24th, 2018, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall, to hear the notice of intent submitted by Steve and Michelle Murphy for the resurfacing of the existing driveway with associated culvert for drainage, construction of a greenhouse, demolition and rebuilding of the existing garage with associated drainage improvement, a removal of an old dock and disrepair, renovation of the existing chicken coop, and the planting of a number of trees. The NOI still also includes after-the-fact activities such as the installation of a raised garden, placement of a fire pit, installation of a gravel walkway, and construction of a wooden platform used for recreational/entertainment purposes.
I don't have it.
The project activities are within the 100-foot buffer to wetland resource areas on the property and will require a variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw for the work proposed within the 65-foot buffer protected under the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw. The project is located at 26 South Main Street, Carver, Mass., map 2, lot 2-15-1C-R, South Main Street. All interested parties invited to attend. And you are, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'm Ed Pesci of Pesci Engineering, representing Steve and Michelle Murphy, who are here, of course, tonight to help out and answer questions if need be. I'm the new kid on the block for this project. Apparently, you all have been dealing with this for several months, and or at least a year, apparently, since the Murphys have purchased the property not too long ago. I think in their case, they're certainly trying to upgrade the property and do the right thing in many areas, and I'm glad to be part of the program to help them permit all the different activities that were either in place when they were there, before they were there, or that they've started to work on, and now want to permit future ones as well and make it all completely properly permitted. I have to say, in the last several months, I think the Murphys have learned a lot about this program and about the Wetlands Protection Act and the Carver Wetland Protection Bylaw. They certainly learned a lot about it from you and from me, and they could practically teach a class, I think, to their neighbors about this. So I think it's overall been a pretty good experience to explain this and have them understand it better. It's certainly, I think you all understand, like we always get involved with clients and applicants that don't understand some of the real, intricacies of the Wetlands Protection Act. The scope is quite a number of things, as was described in the advertisement. The main items are that a reconstruction of the existing garage, and I just want to state that demolition was anticipated. It may not be demolished because of a recent fire, but it may be reconstructed in the existing footprint and the interior reconstructed. So it looks like that's an option, but the insurance company's finally made a claim, a decision that they'll be covered to do that. So that's so the good news is we may not tear the whole thing down. They may not do that at all. Haven't decided structurally, getting a structural engineer involved, whether that's required or not. Then they wanted to add a 14-foot wide adjacent carport structure, essentially a lean-to wall with one wall on the side to be able to park vehicles and equipment in, get them out of sight. Second item there was construction of the 12 by 16 greenhouse and permit the associated adjacent garden area that apparently was there before, but they enhanced and added stairs and put some additional plantings around. I'm sorry?
Stone walls, stone walls.
Correct, right, some plantings and stairs and the stone wall around it. Renovation of the existing chicken coop structure, really in place. It's just it's in disrepair. They're not going to change the footprint at all. They just want to clean it up and inside and out. And then next to that, their plan on, as you can see in the application and the drawing, putting some additional plantings and trees, along with an arbor and a fence and gate, as I show you graphically there on that side of the property, to help beautify and also enhance that part of the property. Give a little separation, a little bit of screening from the next door neighbor as well. And then there's a dozen items that all involve items on the property that you've all seen, that are documented in the notice of intent and on the plan. Everything from the fire pit to the horseshoe pit to the wood deck down at the dock. I think you all understand the overall scope involved in there. When I will say that the main site work activity is the driveway, and I can certainly understand a layperson not understanding that there was an intermittent stream or a wetland BVW next to the driveway, but now seeing what I see, knowing what I know in my experience, I can understand why that's an issue. But Mr. Murphy just described to me the flooding problem that he has down there coming off the street. So he thought of a couple of ideas to help mitigate that flooding problem. One is to install along Route 58 a gravel filtering strip. So that's part of it's in your jurisdiction, obviously, part of it's not, but it'll overall help the site. The second item was to put a culvert across the driveway where it floods across the driveway and just floods across uncontrolled. So I wanted to put in some riprap stone on either side of the culvert to help control the runoff that goes through there, and rather to be uncontrolled runoff and to create more problems down the road and possible erosion issues. And as you drive in the driveway from the street, virtually everything on the left and right of the driveway, they want to loam and seed to get that condition of the ground cover in better condition, so it acts as more stable ground cover and looks better, obviously. So it'll look nicer and more attractive. So what I showed on the plan to help everyone understand that was this area was a little inset to show where the loam and seed idea was proposed, so that we can, because it was going to be hard to graphically show it with everything else on the plan. Also, to improve stormwater management, in addition to those two items, I looked at and we discussed a problem area behind the garage, the barn garage, where it constantly puddles and ponds. And so I've agreed to, I put together a a proposed catch basin and infiltration structure. And today at your site walk, I understand that there was a question about, well, we'd like to get some more information about what that is. So this afternoon, we put together a sketch plan explaining more detail what that intent was. I was planning to certainly talk to the contractor when he got to do this work, but this is what the intent is. So this is a supplement now to your plan to help support what we're proposing. And I hope that answers the questions that may have been brought up today. We have received a letter, and you all have as well, a record letter from the Mass Natural Heritage Program describing that the proposed activities will not result in a prohibited take of state-listed species, that they don't, that the proposed activities will not adversely affect the resource habitat area. So that's obviously part of the record. We did file with Natural Heritage right away. And, oh, by the way, Brooke, I have the green cards, and I wanted to mention to all of you that we got one back, never returned, and the reason was that it's unable, no mail receptacle, unable to forward. And guess who it was to? The Carver Department of Public Works.
Really?
With a post office box. They could not deliver it. God knows why. I wanted to find out why. I never got time.
No signature?
There's no ability to deliver it.
To deliver it.
According to the post office.
There's a post office box, but didn't they have to sign for it?
No,
They do have to sign for it, but they couldn't deliver it.
Well, that's
their
what
mail
I'm saying.
gets
couldn't
dropped
even deliver it.
here at the town
Doesn't
hall.
matter.
There's a slot in the mailroom for them. And I
That's
don't know
interesting.
what the provision is made where the
I
carrier
can't
can-
believe this is not the first time they've run into this, but I wanted you to be aware of it so that you could bring it to their attention to find another way, either get the postmaster in town to figure out how to do this,
I'll talk to
or you
John
get a
Woods.
street address for it to be delivered to at their office.
Or just town hall, I guess.
I'm betting that
I guess it would be town hall.
I'm betting that it came here and nobody wanted to sign for it.
Thank you.
There was nobody to sign for
Huh.
it.
Better go to John's, I don't know.
That may be the answer. The sticker says no receptacle available, but that may have been the real answer.
Yeah. Interesting.
Also, the mail service, the person handling the mail has changed in the last 2 years, so possible that's,
There's no PO, maybe no PO box.
I thought it was an interesting anecdote that you'd all find, but finally, Brooke brought it to my attention that I certainly need, the Murphy certainly need to request a variance for work and activities within a 65-foot buffer. We have added the 65-foot buffer line to the plan, as you see, and that's an oversight on our part, so I'm glad that was brought up. But I also prepared a letter formally requesting a variance, primarily for the two main construction areas. So building or enlarging a structure within a 65-foot buffer, so that's the proposed building of a greenhouse and the carport. And then parking lot or impervious surface. The parking driveway was impervious before. Apparently, over the last several months, there's been some discussion about the driveway, and Mr. Murphy was allowed to pulverize the driveway in preparation for future paving, but that was it until this hearing was held and that the permit was rendered, our order of conditions was rendered for the project. But the intent is to, as you can see there, provide a culvert across the driveway, a small parking area there, permit the small extension on the end of the driveway that's parallel to the side of the house. And to also build the rest of the horseshoe loop, if you will. That's not in your jurisdiction, but to complete the horseshoe loop, they were actually relocating it to a more aesthetically or a safer location in their case on the western side. So it seems to me like a good overall project to try to pull all these activities together under one comprehensive notice of intent. And I think that's what we've accomplished in the last several weeks. And really, subject to your questions, that's all I have.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
I'd like if we could address each one of these issues individually as we're going along, starting from the start of the driveway and working our way through the property,
Okay.
if that's all right with you, sir. I would like to address your culvert pipe to start with. They put me on this committee for two wings. Number one is I do carry some knowledge with conservation, but number two is I am a commercial builder, licensed commercial builder. And I've built many of public parking lots and lands and so forth and so on. The alternative to this culvert pipe would be to install a basin system in the center of that lawn, so everything drains to the basin and stays in the basin system, rather than going into the wetlands. The water that you're going to transfer from the road and everything else that comes down there is going to go through that culvert pipe and into the wetlands, untreated.
Well,
I personally would like to see a drawing of the, if you look at the center of that area, you can put, anywhere in there, you can put a retaining system right there.
so first of all, I disagree with your point about it not being treated. Okay, I understand your point, obviously.
Well, I'm sorry, you don't think that when after this is planted and they fertilize it, the water comes down, goes through that culvert pipe, and goes into the wetlands, you don't feel that that's what?
A stormwater management, one of the stormwater management systems is a grass swale. One of the best management practices are.
And I agree with that.
And the grass is providing that.
Providing the property isn't treated. And they will
I'm sorry,
treat this.
what do you mean treated? You lost me.
Fertilizer.
Oh, I didn't know I thought you were talking about stormwater management treatment, which is total suspended solids.
I didn't say stormwater management,
Right.
okay? So that's one of the issues I have.
But I still don't understand your point.
Well, you're gonna turn around, you got all of this property out there is gonna be grassed,
Right,
okay? And they're gonna fertilize it,
right?
okay? Now, the fertilizer, just like we see on all the ponds around here, the fertilizer will go through this, through that culvert pipe right into the wetlands.
So some of the fertilizer is going to go into the ground. That's where it's supposed to
Yeah, but it doesn't go into the wetlands. You know, it takes, 200 feet of gravel to purify water, okay? So if you do it here, it doesn't go into the wetlands.
So first of all, that's where the water's going today? So I don't want to choke off the wetland system by
Okay,
not letting the water go there?
If you look at that lot right now, there is no grass growing out there. There's nothing growing out there. He filled it all in,
There is some grass out there, certainly.
way at the other end, and it's not treated.
It's not treated. You mean it's not fertilized on a regular basis?
Exactly so.
So fertilizing twice a year,
It's still contamination of the water, sir.
I wouldn't agree with you there.
I'm
So-
sorry.
So
I don't. I do.
I wouldn't say that it's contaminating the groundwater or contaminating, because it's not against the
It'll be
Wetlands
a
Protection Act to do
runoff Right
that.
through that culvert pipe.
We don't fertilize.
You don't?
There's bees on the property, we don't put it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. You had told me that before.
Oh.
They have a beekeeping operation, a honey making operation. They make their own honey, and they don't fertilize because of that. So they wanted to loam and seed, and I never discussed it with them about what type of seed. So it sounds like a low maintenance seed was what would be a great target rather than a fescue that you would have to constantly fertilize. And they do want to irrigate it, however, and so the loam and seed is irrigation. Okay, and I just want to also clarify that I was concerned more about the health of the wetland system, making sure water does go there. So
We got plenty of water going through there. Come
well,
on.
some does, obviously, but I didn't want to interrupt the current flow water regime, flow regime there.
Right.
Okay, why don't we continue?
Yeah.
All right?
Well, I just want to say that, I mean, you consider that, and maybe DEP does too, as an intermittent stream. I've never seen it not running. And that is a feeder for Sampson's Pond.
It definitely is an intermittent stream. My wetland specialist, it's Bob Gray from Sebacia, who's also on the Conservation Commission as a former chairman in Bourne. I don't try to identify, even though I have lots of knowledge like you all, practical knowledge. I'm a civil engineer, not a wetland biologist, not a wildlife biologist, certainly a certified wetland specialist. He is, and he is the one who told me that that is not a perennial stream. It's an intermittent stream. You may see water in it tomorrow after the rains we've had today, but it's not there all the time. But I would certainly want that supports the runoff on the site goes from the front of the property to the pond. It'll still go there, whether we have a culvert there or not. I just didn't want it to go over the driveway and act as a source of erosion. I wanted to have it go under the driveway, that's all.
Sir, I understand what you're saying. I am satisfied with the fact that the property will not be fertilized, and that'll be part of the order of conditions. Thank you.
Sounds good?
Yep.
All right. Do you want to take number 2?
No, I'm still concerned about the intermittent stream because
Yeah, I am
in the
too. I
60
agree. I
years
think
I've been here, I've never
there's
seen
a
it
lot
dry.
going- Yeah,
But-
there's a lot going in there. There's a lot of water going
I mean,
through that
it's fed
12-inch
from, really the reservoir at Edaville and the swamp on the other side of the Edaville tracks, it's way further west than.
Yeah, it's completely off your map.
If I could just interject here for 1 second. Since this has happened and we brought it up, I have seen that stream dry twice, okay? A long patch within June, July, and then sometime in August. Last year, or this year, I should say. It's not, I've been there now and going
Right,
over there.
and you're closer to it than me.
It's there, and you're talking about the water, how it runs, and we are catching water from the street, which I call anything that hits a street or a tar area is contaminated, which is going in the same area, in the same direction from that. And I'm not, like Michelle said, we're gonna fertilize, we're not gonna fertilize, and we're gonna mulch and do things with the grassing. But at the same
Okay.
time, you guys can do whatever you want to delineate what that stream is. But since I've seen it, it has been running and non-running.
Okay.
The storm
It's-
drain
yeah,
on
it's not on the
58 tie
USGS.
into that also?
That storm drain, that culvert that we're talking about comes across the road,
Right.
catches from the street and catches from the wetlands across the street, which is
Right.
next to the cemetery.
But there's a catch
From
basin
Edaville.
on 58 on the
It's
road.
right- It looks like it's, we didn't obviously survey the location of the outfall, but it looks like it's connected, to just like I think one of you mentioned, I think
Except from Edaville. right?
Mr. Moore mentioned that
Well, it
it's
comes-
from the wetland across the street.
Right.
I'm sure there's a hydraulic connection somehow there,
Yeah.
but,
I mean, it's not on the USGS. I don't know.
it's not a
Yeah.
perennial stream located, it's not on the USGS quad, so and I specifically asked, Mr. Gray, Bob Gray, hey, Bob, make sure, if it is, I want to know. Doesn't matter whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
But he said, nope, it's not. So I said, okay. So he
Did he
confirmed that
just
with,
read stats and stuff, did he?
he confirmed that with some of the soil types he looked at.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yep.
anyway, I understand your concern, but again, I think we're doing the right thing to keep it more viable, to continue to keep it viable as well.
All right, I guess the second thing that we are a little bit concerned about, or I am, I should say, is within the 65-foot, just in from the street, the little cutout that currently says Dirt Drive.
Yes, correct. That was supposed to be a new parking area, just an additional parking area for somebody to park, visitors to park.
Okay, but that is part of what is expected to be paved?
Correct, unless you think there's some opportunity where you want to make it
That would
gravel.
require a variance, and variance says, variance in a situation like this requires that there's nowhere else to put it. And it's looking to me like there's an awful lot of
The other end
driveway.
of the driveway.
The new part of the horseshoe is outside of our jurisdiction. That could, I'm thinking that, that's probably about 600 square feet.
It's obviously a good location because it's around trees and it's kind of protected and shielded. Out in front of the house is not where I'd want to put extra parking for vehicles.
They're both in front of the house. Put it in the same position it is here on the other side of the horseshoe.
Again,
Yeah, I'll go for that.
open and exposed. Would you have any problem with it not being paved? Would it be in gravel instead? Would that be okay?
That's the other option.
Right. I'd certainly, if the Murphys are okay with paving the driveway but having that parking area be gravel, I don't see any problem with that. Do you see any issue with that?
Right,
It's just less impervious
That's
surface.
it.
Let me just interject again here. The reason we put this here is we had multiple complaints about the amount of cars. When the previous owner, Rain Phillips, owned it, she had one vehicle. We have 4 children. and 2 adults,
And in business.
and I come home with one of my business trucks every night. So we have a total of about 7 cars that come in and out of the driveway all the time. So if the town wants me to put it on the other side, and then the cars are exposed to the front of the house, which we put it there for the reason, after talking with the historical commission, it was kind of hidden, and the cars weren't in front of the property to take away from the character of the home. It was hidden behind trees, which was what we had done to alleviate all the vehicles.
When did you discuss this with the Historical Commission
Um,
and putting it there?
It was in, when we went over to talk to them, we talked to what we were talking about.
Like the very beginning, because they were getting complaints at town hall at a rate of
I
7
remember
people
that.
per week, because they did not like the vehicles in the front of the house, because it was a historical home.
Yeah,
and
I
they
remember
didn't think
that.
That it was attractive with the cars in the front.
All right.
We got a very large family. I've lived in this town for 47 years, give or
Here we
take.
go again.
And we got a large family. I got 9 brothers and sisters, and there's a lot of times you're gonna go by, you're gonna see a lot of cars. We do a lot of entertainment within our family. The other day, we just had a pumpkin carving, and we had almost 100 people there. So the 2-car parking area that you're talking about, we can do it gravel, if that's where you foresee that's gonna help anything. We just did it so that we could, it's gonna come in and not drag everything and have water picking up or running across the driveway or rocks and everything else.
And satisfy the complaints as well.
Correct.
No, that's really here.
The reason, we're a conservation commission. Now, that being said, the reason we nitpick and try to get like some of the gravel taken or some of the paving taken is because the paving equates itself to oils and so forth and so on. Any little bit that we could stop from dripping into the wetlands is what we want to do. Now, we're not here to, well, this is why we do little things like this. We know you're going to pave right through the 65-foot. We don't have a choice with that. If you didn't have that paved before, you wouldn't be paving it now. So we're asking you to keep that thing, either relocate it or keep it gravel. We're asking that. Do you want to do that? Or, I mean, we're going to vote on it. I
When
mean,
you said oils, can you just say?
oils from the paving over the years, he always gets saturation of oils. He can explain it.
Just some drippings, he's referring to some drippings from old cars and what have
I'm
you.
talking about, not only that, but I'm also talking about the oils that are in the blacktop itself.
Down on the blacktop.
Bituminous binding carries oils.
Correct, and that's the same as what I was trying to make my point, I guess, before, was water running down 58 is all tar, and it's running down 58, it's doing it's about the same thing.
But I can't do anything about that, okay? I can do something about this.
Okay, Bob, let's work on it. Let's work on it, Bob.
Are you okay with gravel, or do you want to relocate it?
I can't
You
relocate.
can't relocate.
There's not a better location, right?
We just take it out, but again, it's gonna impede, the front yard.
So why don't, it's already kind of cut in right now. It's partially
Yeah.
gravel. Why don't we put some formal gravel, put 6 inches of gravel down, and leave it there? If you don't think it's functional anymore, you can always take it out. But at least this board, this commission will be able to permit you continuing to use it in a non-paved, but at least gravel fashion. And I think that's a good compromise, really.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So we should, what you're asking me to do, just so I understand this, we don't have any issue, you want me to excavate all that out of there?
I didn't say that.
Well, but wait, but the
I
problem is, just hang on a second, let
I
me just
didn't
finish.
say that. I didn't
No,
say
but-
excavate. If he said excavate,
No. If you let me speak for one moment,
Right.
I will give you your due time if you give me my due time. I don't want to make this more than what it is. That is reprocessed asphalt that's sitting in that area. So if you're worried about, or your complaint is about oils or runoffs from what is reprocessed there, then we need to remove that, excavate that out of there, to put in gravel, which is not going to leach or bleed any oils out of that. So that's what I'm asking you.
then fine, remove it. I didn't realize it was reprocessed gravel.
Apparently, what I was told was that the driveway was pulverized on site and the gravel was left there. Now, I would agree that that's an impervious surface that allows infiltration, runoff. That's perhaps a better thing in your eyes. I would not say that asphalt creates more oils and solvents into the environment necessarily. It's fairly obviously it does over time, over many years. but it's not a big source of pollutants and so on. Just of it, the vehicles are a different story, but that's a whole different matter.
Right.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Would it make it any easier, Steve, if on the drawing where it says slate patio,
Up by the garage?
just to the right
kind
of that, see that where the paving comes back down and it says concrete pad, which is really over at the garage?
Right.
There's that grass area right there, and it's outside the 65. Could that parking area just be enlarged a little bit? You know where,
Widened, not deepened.
widen?
Shifting,
You know where
yeah,
you had your, where you had your potty boat?
He's just saying,
Correct.
why don't you extend
Yeah, could that be-
parking area for that?
Sideways,
You
no.
want to do that?
Then it gets them out of sight.
That's landscaped and there's a couple trees in there. There's two cedar trees
Oh,
in
okay.
that area, so there's not enough room.
It's not showing the trees on the drawing, that's
We
why.
only showed, I mean, there was so many things to show
Yeah.
on here.
Oh,
I
no, no.
understand.
Yeah, you wouldn't have
We
to.
had no idea we'd be talking about this.
Right.
Well, I was trying to,
That's why I said this morning, when we get within our, site meeting, I wanted to address any of that, so I,
Yeah.
Well, because we had a quorum, we're really not allowed to discuss things like that. I mean,
that's fine, and that's fine. I don't have an issue with it. Like I said, we're not going anywhere.
Right.
And, we have to be neighbors, and I wanna do the right thing. But at the same time, I wanna make sure that it's gonna, to separate the driveway from the rocks as well as you plow that, it's gonna be on the grass, and it's gonna be a maintenance nightmare. So is there a way, if we worked on something of cobblestone and at least held everything together within that area?
Cobblestone.
what's the dimension of that dirt drive?
I don't have a
I'm
problem.
gonna guess it's about
600?
20 by
30?
14.
I can,
Well, I know I parked on it today.
Correct.
I did
I
too.
turned around on it, you parked in it.
Yeah.
And
I don't have a
I'm
problem
not
with
trying to go
cobblestone.
against
Al, I
Tim,
don't
I'm
have a
really
problem with
not.
cobblestone.
I personally, for the small area that it is and the amount of asphalt you're putting down,
Well, let me
what's
let
the
me go this way.
difference
I
on a little
understand-
bit more asphalt in that spot, and it's gonna tie it all in and make it look nice, instead of it looking like you just ran off the road into the dirt?
Well,
Because you know it's gonna turn to mud no matter what you do to it.
My concern, that driveway, the amount of runoff on that driveway is gonna be less to the wetland, it's more to the, because it's pitched to the front yard.
Gonna pitch to the front
And it's gonna
yard.
go to across the roadway or the driveway that was pre-existing. So that area of contention, to me, the runoff is gonna be more from the driveway, which is gonna be tarred, than the parking area that we're discussing. That's the only thing I have to say.
I don't have a problem. When you said
And it's
cobblestone,
not
I
even
don't have
gonna
a
run
problem with
backwards
that.
into that drain you wanna put in and go under the driveway with it. Once it hits that dirt drive area, it's gonna run off.
My concern is.
Put a little pitch to that and send it out into the grass
It's
anyway.
already pitched that way. It's pitched away from the.
Away from
And
the
then it ties in with the driveway and it looks like it
It pitches out.
was designed to be there, instead of looking like somebody needed an extra parking spot and they stuck it in at 2 o'clock in the morning.
The scale's 1 to 40?
That's just,
Thank you, Al.
You guys,
1 and 30.
1 to 30, all right. Oh, the one seat, okay.
I like the drain going under the driveway, I sympathize with
it
the water.
it
you get.
only will work when it fills up in that area. It doesn't, the runoff doesn't go there at every rain event. It ponds there.
Right.
And when it gets high enough, it goes across the road.
I've seen your yard in a hard rain. Now I know why you brought this area up, because you had a swimming pool. Okay.
Based on the scale of 1 inch equals 30, I just measured this. This is 1 inch by 5 inches of an inch, so that's approximately 30 by 20.
I have a scale with me, that's right, that's
So
about right.
It's about 550, 600 feet. It's not 20 by 14. It's twice that big.
I don't know if they put cobblestone in there.
Yeah, if any kind of a pervious surface, cobblestone, if you want to do cobblestone for that area. I think that what is driving this somewhat is also on the parking area that you put in across from your, I guess, side door, between your driveway to either your garage and your gardens.
You're inside
You know,
60.
Part of that is within inside the 65 feet too, and that's new, and that was paved without coming before us. And, I, for one, I'm leaning towards letting that go. even though in hindsight, we should have known about it before it was paved. But
Did you pave it?
Was it paved before?
It was prior paved, the only thing we did, again, going back to the problem with the Board of Health, took Bob Tate coming to me and calling me personally and complaining, was about the amount of cars in there.
There's nothing there.
And.
When you bought the house, this was paved?
No, wait a second, hang on, part of that was paved, we added, I wanna say 6 feet to it, so we could get cars sideways. So from the street, looking at the home, the cars were lined up properly instead of kind of trying to put them inside.
And what he's saying is 90 degrees to the
Referring to
building, so,
Savory?
yeah,
You're referring to that?
yeah.
That addition?
Well, we're looking at this, it was never paved.
By
We got the
whatever it is,
photographs. It was never paved. We got the photographs right here.
Correct. That was an extension that they did before they knew that was not something they could do without coming before you. So
Right.
there's a number of things here that are on the plan
Oh, yeah,
that were now going to be documented and permitted that you all talked about for quite a while.
But it wasn't, what we're trying to say is that it was not on,
No,
it was
no
not there
argument,
when they.
no argument at all.
And that's
Yep.
why we made him file.
Right.
We got the photographs.
Okay.
No.
We're not trying to, again, we're not trying to hide anything, this is something that was brought to our attention after doing some construction, that we were within a 65 feet. I'm gonna plead ignorance to that, because we didn't know we were in that zone.
All right, but what I'm saying is that I myself, and we all obviously have to vote on this, but I'm willing to forgive that
section.
area that's within the 65 feet and let you pave it when you repave your driveway. But the new area, I think adding another 600 square feet of impervious pavement within the 65 feet, I would like to see another alternative. And if that's cobblestones or gravel, even the stuff that's down now, because still water can get through that.
No,
But if it's pitched to the lawn,
it doesn't matter. It's within the 65 foot.
It's not letting the water get through to the ground underneath. That's what,
once it hits the lawn, it
Go
will.
right through.
no, but impervious is, if that's the case, then he could pave the whole thing and have it slope to the ground. Impervious means it doesn't come through.
I know.
I know you know what it means, but that's what our bylaw states. It's impervious that we have to.
Right.
I think there are alternatives here. I think that there is a way not to have to pave that 600 square feet. We're not saying no to anything else about the paving. So whether it's cobblestones or gravel or the crushed
pavers or
pavement that's right
something?
now. That's
So if
there
we
right
just
now.
left it with the
If you left
process?
it, if it was left the way it was now, you're still going to get rain that goes through it.
How about if you left it the way it is now? With just
They
the
have to pave it, so it's
the
gonna have to come
pro-
out.
reprocessed stuff?
I don't have a problem with that. The reason I was making mention of it, because it's reprocessed asphalt. If there was an issue with that, I wanna clear this up so we can move forward.
It's a stable gravel base, it's
Right.
reprocessed
No doubt.
asphalt,
The
and it's got,
reprocessed stays where you
so
What's there
I,
now is fine.
I'd say it can stay in place. Mr. Murphy just told me that he'd like to perhaps put a cobblestone lining around it, so it looks more landscaped and complete.
a problem with
And I think that would look nice. So why don't we
Half-inch minus,
Why don't we agree to do
a
that?
little bit of half-inch
Like you put around
minus,
the garden? Like a little
processed
stone-
asphalt. That gives you the nice black look, so it
I'm
stays
happy with
good
that. I
looking.
just want it defined so that I'm not taking the stuff off the front lawn and going
Yeah.
across the street when the water gets high or whatever. Hopefully that will immediate that, but at the same time, if they're good with the cobblestone and the impervious area, I'm happy with that. And it keeps it out of the front yard, and I think it all
So
works for.
cement-
So a cobblestone perimeter, basically a cobblestone frame around that.
Kinda
and
like
the rest
what's
will
around
be
the
gravel.
garden.
Right.
So water would.
Now, there was some question about paving, and the fact that was
You should let-
why blacktop was desirable, because it would be easier to plow it.
Oh, plow,
Right.
yes, yeah.
So, and the fact that if it's not a solid surface, that when you plow it, of course, you scrape it.
There is a bit of a maintenance problem every year by having that condition.
That's what you get for living near wetlands.
So, well, no, I meant for plowing snow.
It is.
Right,
Right.
Okay, now we're in agreement, we can go on to the,
Yep.
okay.
going on. I'd like to address the proposed greenhouse at this point, which is
Go ahead.
further down the driveway. I don't have a problem with the greenhouse because it's a floating greenhouse, right?
Right,
Correct, it's gotta be.
Yeah.
No footings, no
Yeah.
nothing.
It's gonna be on cinder block.
I'm fine.
You're fine with
I'm
that?
fine with that, yeah.
You know, I have to tell you, I do have an issue. You know where the 65-foot is. I'm just saying, there's nothing we can do about it now because you already got it built. But the retaining wall around the garden and so forth, you knew it was in the 65-foot.
I did not know.
You telling me, you kidding? It's so far inside of that, so never mind the BVW.
He might not
Never
have,
mind the
The street
BVW.
didn't even know it was a street.
I didn't know it was
Uh,
there.
I-
And I spoke, when this came to me, I don't know if Mr. Dempsey, you were on the board at that time, but when Brooke and I met after this had come to arise, we spoke about it, and I didn't know it was there. And if you walk into that property, you cannot see the stream. You cannot see the stream.
I certainly didn't know anything was there.
There, I walked in there, it didn't
Okay, we know it's
want to
there
get
now.
wet.
Right.
I mean,
Here's a
We've got the
situation. I
old
asked him the
plan,
same
too.
question. I'm like, what did you do? You know, because obviously I knew more after my wetland specialist had gone there. But when I first went on the property to talk to them, I had no idea there was a BVW on that side. I knew better that there was something down towards the pond, but nothing on the side. However, I said, how did you do that? And they explained, there were gardens there before from the old owner. They just made it bigger and better.
there were 4 raised beds there.
Correct. So they did things without a permit unknowingly. Now they're trying to correct that, obviously.
And that's what, I thought that was what I was asked to do.
yes, you were.
Which, you know, we.
I think you've done
employed-
everything that we've asked you to do.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
you
just trying to-
stepped up.
I don't want to
I
be
think you made a
accused
lot of mistakes, and I think you manned up to it, and you said, I didn't know.
I appreciate it, and thank you.
I'll go along with that theory of I didn't know, 'cause until I joined this board, I had no idea what the hell is a 100-foot setback from where? Because Carver is wet.
I've never had this
So-
issue. I lived on 34 Western Street for 19 years, we had no wetlands. I lived in Crystal Lake when I grew up, there was no
All right,
wetlands.
all right, all right.
So
But
that's
it's
all-
obvious-
If I knew about it, I wouldn't have done it.
They built a garage there 100 years ago, too.
Well, that was before, yeah, obviously that was
Okay.
before,
Before my
okay,
time.
so.
I understand.
Well, it's before the Wetlands Protection Act, let's put it that way.
Yeah, we had to, yeah, all the way back to, 1873 or something, right?
And thankfully, that the work that they did, actually, you know, look at the wetlands have thrived, even though there was development
I'm
there.
not saying it doesn't look good, don't misunderstand.
Oh,
me.
I understand.
It's just,
And it will look better than it does today.
but we just keep going down the driveway. Let's go to the next spot would probably be the garage. Well, hey, I want to cover, you don't want to
Oh.
cover this, Al?
I
Well,
do.
he's got to do something with the
I
garage.
do.
I mean, it's falling apart. He has to do something with the garage. You have to.
Right.
The
You
garage
might as well
is falling-
start with the
Right,
carport.
okay,
That's
okay,
before the
listen,
garage.
listen. I know the garage is falling apart, I know they're gonna need a permit to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, okay?
What about the carport?
Well, only because I'm looking at this, they cut all the damn trees that were around it already.
Yeah, but I had permission for that.
Who gave you permission to cut the 65-foot, 65-foot, you gave permission to cut all the
We-
trees
we had-
around it?
They were
We had
dying.
boring bugs in the trees,
Yeah.
and we came in and talked
All,
about that.
all the
the
way down
one-
by the garage?
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Just like the
You
one
don't
you
know.
talked
Let
about
me talk
today
to
that's
Brooke
got to
here.
come down up on the
Yeah.
driveway
There were,
side.
there were dead ones by
It's
the
a very
garage.
similar situation.
Well, they're not dead here. They got green trees all over them.
And the tree, and the tree at the beginning of my driveway wasn't dead, but now it is.
Right.
I can't control boring bugs. That's not something.
There is a tree that they asked me
Yeah.
We
in,
saw it
on the
today.
corner,
We saw
Yeah,
on the
that's
plan that they
that's
wanted to
fine. I
replace.
Yeah, we saw
Saw
that.
that
I
one.
mean, we had a lot of very
It's a no-brainer
healthy
once you
looking-
see the damage to the
Right.
tree, but
And we had a tremendous amount of very healthy-looking pine trees snap in half at 12 feet off the ground from red rot that nobody knew were bad. So that was during the storms in the spring.
Correct.
A tremendous amount of trees. We had customers, we had residents calling, doing site visits, can we take these trees down before they fall down and kill somebody? In fact,
Or hit the
one of our
house.
town selectmen had the same thing between his house and his neighbor's house. Huge pine trees that he just, when he saw the ones break so high up,
All the
it scared
shrubs are
him.
gone. All of this, all of that.
So
That's not just a tree.
you did ask to have, we did say you could cut down the trees because they had problems and they were falling down anyway and they were diseased and
Okay.
your arborist had said they gotta go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's all. I understand pitches and I
But
understand.
I'm
Yeah, I
not
don't
just
think
talking
you
about the trees, I'm talking
premeditatedly
about the
cut the
shrubs
trees
around
down.
it, everything is gone.
Let me have
I mean, it was, you have shrubs around it and everything else. I look over to the new one, there's no more shrubs, no nothing, but,
That's correct.
but, so you took all of that out, and that's still within the 65. I'm looking at all this stuff you did, and I just can't believe you did all of this without thinking twice about, well, maybe I need some kind of permission. I mean, I look at this walk going down to the water.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, did you guys not already have this discussion with the Murphys about what they did
Yeah.
wrong and what they should have corrected and what you need to provide?
This is what we wanted him
But
to give us.
not in detail like they finally got us this. We hadn't had this, did I? So we're saying, well,
Understood,
in
but
generalities, but we didn't have any of this.
But now we
You
do.
knew what they had done wrong, it sounded like. I mean, I was told by them that you all had that conversation. They acknowledged doing wrong. Now they're trying to do right.
Right, and we had
I
been out
appreciate
there.
it.
But we weren't completely aware of it because
Of
for
the
a number of
detail and the-
years,
the scope.
we'd been asking for maps to be done, architectural drawings.
Yeah, apparently the previous engineer was non-responsive.
Right.
And, what do you do when that happens? You call out your friends. So my assistant project manager, Lori, knows Michelle very well and said, can you help? And I said, sure, what do you need? We'll do our best. So we got involved in August. But I'm glad we can be here to try to set the record straight here.
Okay.
And
I think we need to
and I don't
look
want
at
to
the
beat, I don't
plan
want
as
to
it
beat
is
it.
right now and not bring up what was done in the past.
Well, the reason I'm saying this about the trees is because I want to put an addition on where the trees were
It's
now.
not an addition, it's a carport.
It's
an
an
overhang to
addition
protect
to
the
the
boat.
garage.
It's not an addition to the garage, it's
Are you
freestanding.
pouring concrete?
No.
Well, I wouldn't say he wouldn't pour concrete for the posts, for the corners, but not a slab.
You said it was gonna be dirt.
Yeah,
Underneath.
just level it,
dirt.
gravel, so, anything.
I asked that question today.
Yeah.
What we're proposing, let me tell you, what we're proposing is two sides, a roof and a side, that's it. The top and one side facing the street, facing Route 58. The two ends will be open.
Right, it's gonna pitch so that the water's gonna run off.
It's gonna mimic the windows of the barn.
You're going to put up windows so it looks like a side of a barn, so it looks like the side. It's an effort to try to get, boat and equipment and things kind of undercover and look a little bit nicer. And I said, okay, we'll try to permit that as well, put that on the plan. And that's what he's proposing.
I don't even think that structure's
That's another part of the
taxable.
variance.
Correct.
I think
That is
that's-
part of the
that's
variance
desirable.
request.
I think it's desirable because it carries over the ambiance of the community.
Yeah,
And it hides some of the stuff that
Right.
he needs to store.
Yep.
I got no problem with that.
Complaining, looking at stuff.
I do. The last spot I'm concerned about is that filled area down by the lake. You're like 10 feet from the lake, you want to fill in a low area.
So all they want to do is put some gravel, sand and gravel down there. What's there now is a big depression.
We saw it today.
It looks like it was
It's-
excavated or
it's-
something. It's-
I don't know. It's a depression becomes a pond.
Yeah, it looks.
It becomes a big puddle, essentially.
Just saying.
So it's not going to go, the water, we're not doing anything to the flow regime there. It's going to stay there. It's going to continue there, but at least it'll be dry. You'll be able to stand in a dry area. I didn't want to start scuffing loam off the top. I didn't want to affect that. I wanted it to, not affect the stormwater runoff of the area. I wanted it to just be an area where it would be leveled with sand and gravel, and that way it would be pervious. It would still act the way it would commonly do. The water would just sit in the gravel rather than in an area where you can't use during wet periods.
I mean, it looks like it was part of the path. Remember how we looked at the higher
At some point,
part that
yeah.
came from
At some
Higgins and then
point,
it
when
just
that-
dropped
When
off?
that bog was active, that
It was
had to
weird.
be the same height as the adjoining property.
Yes, it's
Well,
part of
it's
the type.
obvious-
Same
You're
width and
eroding.
height.
Yeah,
It's obviously eroding, there are roots showing.
Yeah, it had to be, but that's.
Yeah,
think it
I
had
don't,
to be excavated.
I couldn't figure out what it might have been. It might have been from a storm that occurred. There is a structure there, which you may not have ever
Culvert.
seen, the culvert, I've ever seen on a map before, and we found it when we were surveying. I'm like, wow, there's a connection.
Maybe there was a
from-
pump house there 100 years ago. Who the hell
well, there's a
knows?
bog on the other side. That-
Oh,
an
was
old
there?
bog,
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bog that runs from
Mr.
this
Murphy.
property adjoining.
That culvert's for the bog.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so,
It's a real old bog, right, where the culvert is.
If you look at the history book, it says it was the first cultivated cranberry bog
Yeah.
in Carver. I don't know if that's the truth, but it's in the historical book of Carver.
It looks
Or-
like an old
or at
bog.
least the property was associated with that, right. Wow. But at least that old culvert is still there, and it's still functioning.
Yeah.
If I was building it today, I'd make it bigger, but, it's helping to make the hydraulic connection to the pond. But again, I understand your concern, Mr. Dempsey, but I was only trying to make it an area that wouldn't affect the migration of amphibians, wouldn't change the condition of the pond, and wouldn't change or create a condition which would change the water quality of the pond. In fact, would help it a little bit, perhaps. But of course, as you know, there's marshes right next to the edge of the pond that are filtering anyway. Freshwater marsh there. But again, it was just an effort to try to make it a little bit more livable area for better recreational
In fairness
use.
to the Murphys, they asked our opinion this morning.
I understand.
when we were
I heard
there.
it.
And because the plan originally called for granite steps there to get up where that pile of rocks is.
And I think you agreed to not do the granite steps if,
We'll do whatever.
If it
Make
would
it
be
safe for walking.
level.
What Savory recommended is what I think is the best idea. I'd rather just have it contour the same property to the Higgins property, and then get no stairs. We don't need any stairs.
Yeah, I think it would bring it back closer to what it had been at one point.
yeah.
It's
At
really
some
the way I
point-
looked at it.
At some point, it's an impression there, somewhere, somehow, I don't know.
Yeah, unnatural.
It was, when I got the house, that's what was there.
So something occurred there that caused some erosion, and it
that's
just
what
got worse over the years. Who knows? But
It's weird.
Either
So-
something or somebody dug a hole there once upon a time for.
Somebody had a big
God only
fire
knows
pit
for
or-
what, maybe the sand was real good there and they put it down at the beach.
And maybe there's
I mean, who
all that,
knows?
So just to clarify, because as a benefit of the site walk, which just sometimes happens, the scope changes as a result of that. You think about something else, you think of a
Right.
different way. So we did propose to put some granite steps there as shown on the plan. We won't do that as a result. Sounds like we wouldn't do that as a result of this, but slope the sand and gravel fill. Again, not something I want to loam and seed. Not unless the commission wants us to with a wetland seed mix. I'm happy to do that too, but I would just. Yeah, I didn't think it would either, I would, it would if you cultivated and watched it all the time.
Yeah, you have to water it all the
Right,
time.
right, but but that's not what I want. I don't want them
Go out there with a sprinkler
to, exactly, I don't want them to have to do that either, so.
And I think
and
the
when
grass that's
Stephen-
out there was gonna.
The grass will
fill in.
probably take over somewhat, you're right.
And when Stephen said today, if he could bring that up, that's exactly what he said to us. If he could bring that up to a grade that matched the surrounding area, you wouldn't need the granite steps. So it would just,
So,
you
so
know,
as a result of that, since I'm going to become the project manager for this for everyone, I'd have them install some erosion controls. We'll put the sand and gravel fill in and get rid of the stones that are there that are an impediment to walking, and level it out a little bit so it looks a little bit easier to travel and get up to that grade in the adjacent property.
Just follow the contour to the south.
Correct, right.
That goes to the adjoining property, is
yeah.
what we were
So it
Goes
looks
to the
like
path.
it's always been there.
Yeah.
And then
I'll agree to that.
let grow whatever's gonna grow.
What you suggested Savory today,
Yeah.
from the Higgins, is just kind of bring that straight down and just
Yeah.
kind of slope it to that area, and then you were talking about some of that cedar, whatever that grass was there.
Yeah, the natural grass
I
that
think
will
it'll
grow
fill
on its
in,
own, or-
that
Yeah,
grass that's there.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over my property
Yeah.
too.
It's definitely will, I'm sure it will.
I think you said something about a sand and loam type of a mix
Well, it could be whatever's recommended for that
for that area.
Because I think it's pretty sandy, it's obviously sandy out there now, so.
Yeah,
So you
it's a
don't want it
sand
to be
base.
too
Same
loose, you
type of
want it to
soil,
stay
right.
where it is once you
Right.
put
But
it
at
down,
one
too.
point, that was built as a dike
Right,
between the
right,
bog and the lake.
right.
That's what that was all about.
So,
Yeah.
and that would have been built at the same height all the way around.
That's what it looks like.
There is a mix that's sold deliberately for that purpose. The cranberry growers use it to put on their dikes.
Oh.
And so that
Well, that's
might
what I
be.
said to Savory this morning. I went down to Agway, and I think his name is Pete, don't hold me to that, but he said he had a mix that would work for that, and would give you that kind of that old clumpy type grass.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
would hold it.
Oh, okay.
And still walk,
Yeah.
the water would walk
Yeah.
through
So
it.
I'm willing to try that if you want us to try that. I think I'm willing to oversee that, to see if that'll
I
work.
think so. It's a hardy grass. It grows well in shade, and it loves water. I live on Sampson's Pond as well, right around the corner on the
Next door
north
neighbor.
shore, almost 2 or 3 homes away from
Oh, okay,
Murphy. So,
gotcha.
you know, the grass on his area by the water is the same as
Yeah.
the grass I have, and it grows pretty well. It takes over if you let it, which is fine.
I'm happy.
Okay, while we're down on the subject of the edge of the pond, you also saw the old dock there that showed up after a storm. They're going to remove that, I think. I told them not to touch that till after we went through this process.
You asked
Right.
us that a long time ago,
Right.
the old one,
I'll
yeah.
wait for the, for early spring, and then we'll just tow it out of there,
Mm-hmm.
bring it to the dock, and then get, dispose of it.
So we'll put a sand gravel loam mix down. I'll put a sand and loam mix, a high sand content but I want to look at the grass seed. So why don't you let me work with staff, with Brooke, and I'll actually grab a seed mix that we propose to use and run it by Brooke before it gets planted
Okay.
next spring.
Yep.
I had no problem with the chicken coop. You wanted to take that down and just put back on the existing pad. You weren't
Yep.
moving the pad, you weren't making it bigger, you weren't doing anything other than put back what's there, but
To
nice
renovate
looking.
it, yeah.
Is that still gonna be a chicken coop, though?
No, it's been on the property forever, we're not getting chickens.
Playhouse?
Sorry.
A playhouse?
Gonna be as man-
I actually thought they were going to get chickens, so don't put it past them. They
That's
might,
what I was
you
thinking,
know.
you know, because I've seen that.
They're
They-
good pets.
They got bees, they can have chickens too. you
I
know.
like
Just don't
chickens.
get a rooster.
Chickens make good pets.
They do. They're very lovable.
If you wanna get your
Lovable.
neighbor upset,
That's what I heard.
sure
I was
get a
thinking about
rooster.
that. If your neighbor's not happy, yeah, have
No,
chickens.
All the words for chickens,
Uh-oh.
I
I
can't.
got a
Oh, yeah,
rooster
those
living
Higgins will
across
love
the
that.
pond from me.
You
Should get roosters.
Rooster next
You have to
door.
get a permit to have chickens in Carver, and some of
Any
that has to
wildlife,
do with-
livestock, right.
Yeah.
All right, so we battled our way through this.
So next to the chicken coop is
Roosters.
proposed arborvitae plantings, to continue the arborvitae plantings that are already there.
Yeah.
And by the way, I spoke to the neighbor. The neighbor called me, next door neighbor called me. They haven't moved in yet, but they called me and they said, hey, I got this notice. And they had a nice conversation with her. And she was very pleased that they were planning to put those arborvitaes up, because she was thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
So now she doesn't have
Well,
to.
she could put some on her side.
Well, I was thinking they could negotiate that, at least over a beer or something, but yeah, who knows?
Probably would have done with those.
I did.
Because you built the
I
pavilion.
did prepare this sketch today to answer any questions you may have. I think this does answer the mail, so to speak, for what you want to do.
Yes.
This helps them in the future. This is a standard configuration with a catch basin, 4-foot sump, and an outlet.
Now, are you putting this in the way it's oriented here at the garage,
That's-
or are you gonna
that-
turn it at all and have the?
I'm putting it approximately there, so that it's parallel to the kind of, the configuration of the catch basin to the leaching is parallel to the wetlands.
My next question becomes, if you do rebuild the garage and you do that whole wall and you commercially gutter that side of the building, because that's where you're getting a lot of your water from, are you gonna tie that drain in, or are you just gonna let it
I-
naturally get to
Right,
that?
right now, there's no, actually, I don't even know if there's gutters on the existing.
Well, there's
Well, they
a gutter
burned,
that's-
didn't they?
It's
Well, they
burned
have to-
off.
They burned down.
Al, they have to pull a permit to do the garage if they're gonna do it like that anyhow.
Gutter is non-existent anymore.
I'm asking where the water's gonna go when he does.
Let's
that's all.
try and keep the conversation down to one person talking at one time, because just had 4. Not good.
All four?
So let me try to answer that. So this is not intended to specifically connect gutters. It is to collect roof runoff, obviously, that collects in that area and infiltrate it. So there may be a gutter that discharges in that location. I would suggest that we disperse them in all 4 corners, disperse it with surface discharge.
I'm listening.
And I'm referring to downspouts with fanned outflows, with crushed stone outflows, so that there won't be any problem with erosion and so on. That area does collect water now. It's a constant mud puddle. I mean, you guys probably want to walk by it today, right?
Michelle had
Right.
pictures of it, too.
Right.
They have
One
to do
commissioner
some-
wants
they
to
have do
respond?
something with
Hey.
that, I know.
A commissioner wishes to respond?
I'm sorry?
Did you wish to respond?
I think I've done enough responding.
Okay, fine. Is there another commissioner that would like to respond?
Regarding the,
Refer to you, Mr. Chair.
Well, can I just say this? They're gonna have to go for a building permit and come before us again when they, if they renovate or it just says existing garage, so if they rebuild it or renovate, they're gonna have to come before us again anyhow, and we could talk about the water overflow at that point.
No, they wouldn't, I don't think.
It
This
says
is,
existing garage.
so it's to reconstruct or repair the existing garage.
But if you tear it down,
No,
you're gonna have to go for,
Trying not to.
I mean, if they're only forced to do that, but that, I would argue that that's part of this application. And if it's not, it's so amended tonight.
They want to keep the historical outlook.
oh, I
of
agree.
that
I think it's a
garage.
great looking building. I'd hate to see it
So
go.
they're going to try to reconstruct it.
So at this point, we did, as your bylaw requires, we did provide a copy of the notice of intent and drawing to your building commissioner,
Okay.
because it's another town board that may
So he
be
does have-
required.
He does have the application.
He has he has a full thing you had.
All right.
Doesn't have this latest sketch, of course, but has a full notice of intent application package that you received. So that's one of your bylaw requirements in your checklist.
Does he have to get structural plans for that and stuff, or,
Whatever the building commission requires, he'll get.
okay.
You know,
If I may, because I know that you're new in Carver and with rules, et cetera.
Right.
I'm going to put on another hat that I wear in this town.
Sure.
And that's the Historic District Commission, in which this house is
Falls,
located.
right.
In the Savory Historic District Commission. Just so you're aware, the Historic District Commission has jurisdiction over any structure that is 100 years old or older, which includes that garage. So you would need to make an appointment with the Historic District Commission regarding anything that you're going to do with that building,
Right.
and come before them.
Understood.
All right?
Yep.
So, and the building inspector should tell you that, because he's really not allowed to do anything until he makes sure that you've seen Historic District Commission based on
Would the historic district, if I can call it the HDC, would the HDC be involved with reconstructing any existing footprint? Or, I guess because we're adding a carport outside it, that they would be involved with that, right?
The Historic District Commission has jurisdiction for new construction in anything visible from a public way. So the side facing the street, and in effect, anything that you can see.
Right. Arguably right.
In the
Yep.
case of where Steve lives, and also where the Higgins live next door, not only does the Savory Historic District have visible from a public way, but also visibility from the Union Cemetery. That's in the bylaw. So I'm not sure if the barn is visible from Union Cemetery or not, but certainly
Yeah, there's a top, that's for sure.
the side of the barn where the carport's going to be. would be
Visible from 58, yep.
And it's really just, it's more for aesthetic purposes. Steve has been in front of us with the pavilion. He built.
Beautiful job on the
Yeah,
pavilion.
and, you know, we worked with you with
Nice
that.
job on
And
I don't have an issue with that.
yeah, and I, you know, I'm not concerned about that.
But it's another step before they start work.
Before that garage comes down.
And I understand that, Ed, and the board, I understand that if you grant us the right to put the lean-to on the barn, we will be going in front of the historical commission.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, what I'm just letting your project manager know is that if your insurance comes back and says, hey, it's got to come down,
Correct.
that you've got to come in front of us and.
We're trying not to go that direction.
They haven't decided that yet.
No, I know.
They've decided a full coverage for them, but they, we're.
Yes, and we talked about that a little bit today, so
Okay,
I'm aware of that. I just wanted to let
I
you
think
know.
you could get a structural engineer to tell you how you can keep it, but that's just,
Right.
It's a shame to lose that beautiful copper
Right.
roof, I'll tell you.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to let you know, as the new project manager.
thank you,
That is part
that
of
the,
the procedure's going to have to be.
And the building commission might forget to tell him.
Yes.
Okay. At this
I
time,
didn't
I'd like to see if there's anybody else that would like to speak. I thought I heard from these two people who came in the back. Are they?
Well, that's my family.
So that's our.
Oh,
Okay.
they're not against your part.
Well,
No.
And anybody who spoke tonight at the meeting, we'd like to have them sign in on the clipboard here on this, because of the fact that the secretary has to be able to record them. So,
So the carport's, not.
may-
you
may I
gotta
ask a
put that
question?
in there,
What's that?
yes,
that the
Alan-
carport
Alan-
will have no gravel.
pardon me.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
the-
sorry.
Alan wants to speak.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Alan, I didn't hear your voice.
I'm sorry that I brought up the gutter, but the reason I did is because I spoke with Steve today at the site visit, and that was one of the questions I had. It's obvious the water that is down there on the ground, a lot of it's running off the roof, and then he explained to me that during the fire, the gutters got broken and burnt and so forth. So then he had made a statement saying that when gutters went back up, if they were to rebuild that garage, that he would have the backside gutters on a single downspout in that right corner. And that's why I was asking, where were you gonna run
would
that
it go
water
into
to? That
the-
was that was the whole purpose of what amounted to a 15-minute.
So if I may, and I haven't talked to Steve about this at all, but what I would do, Steve, I'll show you this in a second, but I'd run it on the back side of this little finger wall. so that it would run around that and go to the wetlands and dissipate the energy going there,
That's
rather
what-
than contribute to the low spot.
That's
Yeah.
what we thought would work that's what I thought would work.
But
the
obviously,
best when
put
I
a,
spoke
you
with
know,
Steve.
crushed stone, like a flared, like a riprap, not riprap, not that big, but crushed stone, you know, channel, so that it would never erode, and give it a place to go. I think that's the smartest way to do it there, and in the front as well.
Yeah.
To get it away from the building and not have it contribute to the low spot.
Right.
Because I didn't want to fill the low spot, you know, I didn't want to start doing that either. I wanted to just try to take advantage of the
Yeah.
natural topography
That
there.
low spots have to be filled about a foot anyhow in order to get to the footing of the
I-
barn.
I think you're right, it's in tough shape,
Come up.
right? But it's not a significant change in what's there, but
It's not.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Chairman?
Well, my pleasure is that if we are finished discussing this, that we
I think we beat it to death.
close the hearing for the moment. Now, are we going to want to rediscuss it? Or want to continue it, or do you think we can?
I think we could,
I don't know what we-
can
I think the
Continue
only
it
thing
for-
that really, at the end of the day, that we're changing is that little dirt drive. I think everything else that's on here we've discussed, but I don't
As
think we've
drawn.
agreed to
Well,
change.
no granite steps.
no granite
So-
steps,
so-
and I want to
that
make
was-
sure it's
but
put
it was
in
kind
that, that only gets gravel inside that
The
shed.
carport doesn't have a cement.
That's right.
Right, no
Right, and-
slab.
That's it.
So I get, Mr. Chairman, just recapping for the benefit of all here. No granite steps, we'll add a hardy grass seed mix, submit that seed mix to staff for review, but add a sandy loam, well draining soil down there to shape to the existing topography. The carport must have a gravel base. The parking area, the two-car parking area, if we're going to call it that, there on the side of the driveway, will remain a pervious gravel surface, and it's okay to surround it with a cobblestone
Oh, yep.
frame, if you will. And I think that's all I have, other than
You to
your
define
advice.
that it's going to be a floating greenhouse. It's going to sit on no foundation,
And then no fertilizer.
and then no fertilizer.
But
No
they said they
fertilizer
would-
on the
yeah.
property. I shouldn't say that.
You want to put in
Oh,
that we
there's no
can.
fertilizer on the property.
Yeah, because of the bees,
Bees.
right?
Right.
And with everything that's being done here, folks, I can say I really appreciate your cooperation and
Oh, you
help.
can do the chicken coop.
I have to say, in the 30-plus years I've been doing this, I don't want to say how old I am, but anyway, this has got to be the most activities, the most things on a single notice of intent I have ever submitted.
I've never.
It
seen
was
that.
quite a bit.
But it's a
But
good
we
way
got
to
it all-
comprehensively put it
The good part
together.
is we got it all covered.
Exactly.
One-stop shop, that's what's
Now,
nice.
as the homeowners realize, and I'm sure they saw me today, I took a series of photographs throughout the property. Those photographs will be added to your folder here at the town hall. So if there are any issues in the future, we have the photographs. Okay,
Not a problem.
enough said.
Thank you.
Do they reside on personal phones? I'm just curious.
I'm sorry?
Do they reside on personal phones, or do they get passed over to the town? How does that kept?
The what?
They
Because I
get
know she took
printed.
Pictures of the home,
Oh, the
like all that kind of
photos?
stuff as well.
Oh, they would just be-
You're going to email the pictures.
Personal phone,
I
how
don't
does
email
that?
them.
Oh.
Just transferred into the
They get-
computer.
Okay,
get-
and they
Yeah.
stay there and off his phone?
Right, and they're printed,
Yeah.
that's right.
No.
So you would just print them, and I would just put them in the file?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put 'em- put
yeah,
'em in
you're not
the
gonna-
folder.
Because he took it with his personal phone, he was taking pictures of the house.
Oh, I see what
so
you're
was just
saying.
curious
They're
how-
just they're just hard
I
copies.
didn't really, I wasn't really
Just
photographing the house as much as I was photographing the
Motion to close the
property.
hearing.
I mean, the house might have gotten hit a couple times while I was clicking through,
Yep,
but
I was
it's,
watching.
it's, you know, I wouldn't
didn't-
I wouldn't-
because don't
I
like
would
the
not
prints to go out there anyway, that's why I was-
purposely
We're going to sell them.
hit any privacy. Yeah, online.
I
So,
would make a motion that we close the hearing on 26 South Main Street, DEP SE 1260571.
What do you think, Savory? Do you think we're done?
I'm satisfied,
Okay.
so.
And Tim, are you satisfied enough to vote for closing the hearing?
Yes.
So I'll second
There'd
that.
be no reason to continue it. I mean,
I'll second that.
Because it's,
What about you? Are you satisfied?
Yes.
Okay.
I will second that.
If the chairman's satisfied, so am
yeah.
I.
I mean, I
Okay.
thought there was a lot going on, but I thought, that's what I thought, as Ed said, you know, the best thing for him to do is to put it all on one, and that way he didn't have to keep coming back, you know, with separate filings to do this, and, you know, and because
Been a
that,
terrific presentation
I
of
hate
a
that
number
we
of
caught
items,
you.
but,
It was good.
yeah.
I think so.
I prefer this, to be honest with you.
So,
Oh, it's easier
okay,
than a
so
bunch
it has been
Much
moved.
easier.
It has been moved to close the hearing and seconded, right?
Yes.
So all those in favor of closing the hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now,
Now,
And if you want, if you want, if you could think, if you want to think about the condition, I didn't write it as special conditions yet.
Oh, well, I'm gonna get to
So if you want to suggest some,
I'm gonna get to that.
oh, okay.
What are we getting to?
Make a motion,
I usually like to get, your input.
now, this is the time where the agent or the commissioners would present their items to be considered in the closing document.
Right, which we pretty much just went over.
Correct.
We closed the hearing.
no, but we just went through all that before
We
we
did,
closed.
but
Right.
now we have to list them. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So
so
those will be put in the order, the things that we just talked about, that Ed just went over.
you'd like a motion to?
No, I'd like a list of the things that we feel to be considered and then we will cap that by closing and by
Voting.
the
Yeah.
order.
Okay, so this goes back to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Are we gonna open up our folder? Hold on.
So,
Are we going to do it again?
Take the list?
Do we want
Yeah,
Ed
I'll
to
take
say, do it again?
we got no granite steps.
No
Let's start from the driveway and work our way down.
Let's be a
Here
little-
we are.
No granite steps.
Well, I'm right here, makes it easy, it's in this corner.
Okay,
Okay.
just say that, no granite steps
No granite steps,
over by the end of the waterfront,
Right,
right? No, it's along the road,
yep.
no, it's on the waterfront.
the waterfront, right?
Then a sand,
Okay
gravel,
to pull the
loam
dock out,
mix.
you wanna put that in there
Yep.
too?
Yes?
Yep,
The
you can pull
wooden
the dock
dock
out.
can be
It's part of the scope. You don't have to put that as a condition. It's part of the scope already.
And I
All right,
did
so
tell,
just-
I did tell Steve that when you go to do each of these little phases, you let me know, say, okay, today we're doing the dock, tomorrow we're doing the driveway, or, you know what I mean, just so that we know, and I'll put that in the order.
You'll have notice of every
Yeah.
time we're gonna do an activity.
Okay.
So that you know, so if someone does call, you can
Right.
say that you've already been contacted.
Because
and they have-
we're gonna get a ton of calls.
I'm sorry?
We're gonna get a lot of calls.
All right, so we're okay with granite steps, that's, the chicken coop's already on the drawing.
On the granite steps, you have to put in that in its stead, we're doing the sand,
The sand,
loam,
gravel,
gravel
loam
mix
mix.
with the net.
Existing low area to be filled with sand gravel to eliminate puddling.
And provide a
on the plan.
wetland seed mix
Wetland
to
seed.
be submitted to staff for review and approval.
Yep.
Right.
Why don't you write the order up? We'll just sign it.
Wouldn't be the first time, but it's okay. It's all right. You're doing fine. That's the way it needs to be.
Obviously,
Okay.
you.
So then we get up to the proposed carport structure is as drawn, and the condition will be that it will remain dirt or
It'll be a
gravel.
Yep.
gravel floor,
Gravel
not
floor.
concrete.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Well,
Yeah.
it could be impervious,
Gravel floor, no,
Gravel.
yeah,
hard,
yeah.
something hard.
Pervious, right, right.
Pervious, not impervious.
Moving up the hill,
Impervious.
Pervious
What
is
did I
what you want.
say?
the greenhouse will be a floating greenhouse.
Yep.
I just don't like that.
And the driveway.
Continuing right along, the dirt drive will remain impervious.
Yep.
Will remain pervious. It's very hard for us to say it the other way, I know. We do it all the time. It will remain a pervious base, either the existing,
Reprocessed.
right, on-site gravel, crushed gravel, or crushed asphalt or gravel, but we will add a cobblestone frame, cobblestone perimeter around it.
I'm sure you're gonna follow up with the commission with a letter anyhow, am I correct?
I will always follow up with photos and a letter, especially to get a certificate of compliance. We always want to do that.
Yep.
So that will always be something you get from me.
That's what we
The
need.
rest of the plan is as drawn.
Yes, right.
Roger.
Yep.
Correct.
So having
Do we
reviewed,
wanna
I'll make
put-
the motion
Do we want to
for,
put the wetlands delineation
Or
box?
a few posts?
Yeah, I think we should.
just a few of them. It'll be, okay.
Yeah, I thought about that, but
Don't wanna be
they'd be
too
all over the place,
ostentatious.
because there's wetlands everywhere.
Yeah, no, not really.
Down
I
near
think I'd
the
rather see
pond, you
them
mean?
across the back.
Can we,
We have a little
can you
conservation plaques.
explain? I heard that in the previous hearing, so I'm not quite
We
sure
have
what that
little
is.
plaques that say,
say what?
Town of Carver, wetlands, no activity beyond this point. So we put it for people who move in the future who may not know that they have wetlands in their
That's
backyard.
part of our-
I mean, in this case, you guys know.
So
So
why
I'm
don't you,
not sure where we'd put them on your
We
property, because they'd be everywhere.
so why don't you, we would agree to, I assume, a few of those?
You could, maybe along the side, I mean, because
So
since you didn't know.
I would
the
say if
stream
you
was-
gave us a
somebody
half a
else
dozen, I
might
could
say.
sprinkle them along the side where I didn't know originally, and that probably makes
Maybe
it.
by the stream, since
Right.
that's not that
Yeah.
obvious. I
Yeah,
mean,
I'd rather
obviously
see it
the
up
pond
along
is,
here
and, you know, the
And
bog and stuff.
it'll help others know what the heck is going on and maybe educate a few people in the process.
To use this.
Right.
How's that sound?
Sounds
Along the
great.
side by the.
6 of them, and I will supervise the installation of them?
Yep.
You want them, what, 6 inches, 10 inches above the ground or something?
No, they come on a post, right?
They come on a
Well,
pole.
they don't
they
actually
come on the
come on
post?
the post, no.
They
You
go on a
just get the-
4-foot
yeah.
post.
Okay,
And usually you stick them a foot in the ground, so there's, they're like a
About 3
I mean, we
feet
don't
up.
have
They're
the
about 3
post.
feet up.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Cool. Next.
Okay, so 6 along the side by the stream. Is that?
Are we ready?
Yeah, keep going. You're doing good, Al.
I think we're done. With everything else is on.
That's what they said the last time I
God,
tried
we're
this.
done.
It's 3 times I'm trying to make.
no, I think you covered it all.
Okay, the Red Sox are up, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry, and that the applicants agreed not to have regular fertilizer of the lawn, loam, and seed areas.
5, yeah.
Okay, so
Right.
that'd be
Did you get the no
6.
fertilizer?
And I want to document that, even though they've agreed to do it, I want you to document that in your order.
Well, I think we,
What,
maybe,
no
Okay,
fertilizer?
so,
yeah.
Put it as a
But they,
condition?
yeah, they already agreed to that, but we'll just repeat it.
you ready?
I think we are.
I don't know that I'm ready now.
Oh, no.
Make a motion.
To issue an order of conditions.
To issue an order of conditions, 26 South Main Street, DEP SE 1260571, with the following conditions.
As
The plan
previously
as
discussed.
drawn.
Yeah.
With no fertilizer
On the property.
on the
I'm
property.
just gonna put
No fertilizer,
conditions listed above, because I
Yes,
already put
that's-
them
that's
in.
Oh, you
right.
already
You
put it
already,
in there with
we
the-
already.
Yeah.
Can you
did
read
it.
those back to me, please?
Okay, Alan Jermaine gave a list of conditions. Number 1, no granite steps over by the end of the waterfront, instead doing a sand/gravel. Product to eliminate puddling and provide a wetland seed mix to be submitted to staff for approval. Number 2, proposed carport structure remains as drawn with a gravel floor and not concrete. Number 3, greenhouse will be a floating greenhouse. Number 4, the dirt drive will remain pervious base, either existing reprocessed on-site crushed asphalt or gravel and a cobblestone perimeter around it.
Like it.
Number 5, wetland plaques installed near the stream. Number 6, no fertilizer will be used on the property, with the rest of the plan as drawn.
Mr. Chairman, I
My motion.
have one amendment to what was said. The second item, basically the first item you read, the sand and gravel, it's loam, sand and gravel. I have to have some loam to get the grass seed to
Yeah, yeah,
mix?
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That was it.
Sand gravel loam. Yep.
So it's really not an amendment, we'll just adjust it.
Edit.
So has everybody got that? That will become the motion, I'm not gonna read it again.
Don't,
I
please.
can't.
Don't.
I will second that.
Please don't.
It's been moved and seconded to issue an order of conditions as described by the agent and read back by the secretary, that we now need a motion, a vote on it. So all those in favor of this, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Amazing.
And then the variance, do you actually usually vote separately on the variance? You usually just say with the variance.
With the
You're
variance.
approving it with the
Yeah,
variance.
Yeah, with the
Because
variance.
they requested the variance, so.
Right.
That goes.
Thank you for clarifying that. And I want to say, not to fill her balloon, but Brooke has been a tremendous help to me and to them, trying to get this squared away. And really, you got a good staff member there that tries to help the public.
Yes.
She likes 10 o'clock visits, to site visits, because usually that's after the cocktail hour.
I was going to say coffee hour.
That once in a meeting, that's all I hear now.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm not an alcoholic, really.
Did we vote on that?
We got more stuff.
Did we vote on that? I don't think I actually took a vote saying all those in favor.
What's that?
You did, I said aye.
Yep, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, I have one question or request. Now that you've granted approval, I know that the order of conditions is about to be done. Because of the time of year, and really it's because of my schedule, I couldn't submit the order of the notice of intent, my schedule, until we did.
The driveway?
They would like to start the loam and seed work. They'd like to get the lawn work in, if you will, in the area that I've described on the plan. And I just want to have your consent that they can start that. And, you know, we're going to proceed post haste and record the order of conditions. But because we're hitting the limit of time where seeding is going to take and germinate,
They had already
I think
did.
we have a minimum 10 days, don't we?
This is the 10-day appeal period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're doing it at their own risk because of
Right.
the appeal, but
Right,
not,
and this,
not-
but there's nobody here, I mean, it's not gonna get appealed.
My biggest concern is the driveway.
And you wanted to do the
And you know
driveway.
that you're gonna have to get on that. or
I
you're
mean, they
not
can
gonna get
certainly,
hot.
and they
No,
can
you've
start
already
before
had
it
a
gets
freeze,
recorded,
right?
Ed.
Correct.
Gonna have
They're not
another
gonna
one
do, they're
tomorrow
not
night?
gonna, they're gonna do the base coat this year.
I'm not worried about that, I'm about your grassing.
Oh, I'm not gonna, but if we can.
you're not going to do the grass then?
Well, what we spoke about today, and I think everyone was in agreement.
You wanted to do the driveway.
Put the driveway in, bring the loom to the driveway, be prepared for the early spring to then plant and then put the top coat
Okay,
on.
then I stand corrected. It was the driveway, not the loam and
We've
seed.
already had a freeze.
Only because the driveway, if they stop making hot, then he's gonna
I know, I
live
was
with that
scraping my
all
windshield.
winter
So you're going to put a binder down?
They're gonna put the binder down, let it sit through the winter, and then come back in the spring and put the top coat on there.
Put the wear course on after?
Correct.
And do you wanna record this, or do you want me to? We usually do it if you wanna give us a check, so either way.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's fine for you guys to do that. Do you do it the same day or same week, or?
Usually within a couple, week or so. So they could certainly start the work without
What's that
it or
check,
being recorded.
50,000?
The only other thing I would need, of course, is a scanned image of the entire order of conditions.
Yeah, I can, yep.
Copy of it.
Because what I,
I'll send you a copy.
or a copy, right. I don't know how easy it is to
I'll
do.
send you a copy, yeah.
But I always scan the entire recorded order of conditions, so I have record of it.
Well,
that's
we usually
recorded.
send out something that, when it comes back from the registry, we send that out, and that gives you all the recording,
What would that amount be? And we'll-
It's $77 to the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds.
You wouldn't get charged any different if you went there by yourself.
No, I'm happy.
It's a tremendous public service, I think. It's a good public service.
Yeah, we do it all.
I know.
Oh, do you want to do it?
No.
She usually does it.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I thought it was 76. I said, just write a check for
It
76.
sometimes varies if you have an
What are we gonna
extra
do
thing or
next? Let's
something,
keep
but
going.
usually it's 77.
I want to see the game before it's
Just a
done.
minute, Carl, let's calm down. Let's calm down. We really,
Very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
thanks for a very good presentation.
Yes, those plans are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. We try.
Nothing, so.
I got it too.
Oh, okay.
You were really pretty on the line, too.
That piece of land that.
No, I'm on MLB.
Yeah, I was gonna buy it for me,
Yeah, well,
so I could live there.
There's one out, one out in the bottom of the
Damn,
second.
man. Men
Nobody
don't
on.
lie.
they do.
Bogarts is up.
Bottom of the second?
Do you want it written to you?
Oh, I don't want to picture that.
want it made out to the town of Carver, or?
No, Plymouth,
ALAN.
BROOKE, no, Plymouth County Registry of Deeds.
Yeah. I just put registry of deeds.
All right, double off the wall.
Yep, Bogarts, right?
What do you do?
Double.
Okay,
Oh, were they winning?
Oh, this is good.
Oh, the
I'm
game's
watching it too.
No, it's,
MLB, all I'm
Thank you,
doing is
guys.
following along.
Thank you.
Thank you, really.
How many
I thought
outs?
That was huge.
thanks.
It was huge, but he did a very.
Bogey's on second, one out.
Here we go.
One out?
Yes.
Okay,
You collect this, right?
Yes, thank
Hey, I
you.
just want to
I'll
know
get
who's
that.
taking
So you
care of
can
that Buick
start the
out
stuff
there.
before this gets recorded. In other words, if you don't hear that this gets recorded, you can start the driveway and all
Call
that stuff.
tomorrow.
Work on it, you got a
That's
flat.
hot.
Yeah.
Most time people start
Are you
before
gonna
it
get
gets.
screwed out of
Got
it?
a few more things than that, I know.
All we need to do is have one snowstorm and that's it for the asphalt plant. They're down. And you'll be digging gravel all winter long.
okay, we do have one more continued hearing to,
Luck.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
thank you.
I don't think there's anybody here for that.
That was a
Yeah.
big relief.
Well, we still
It's all
have
right.
here, don't we?
All right,
The
let's go.
RDA,
Yes,
Plymouth Street, just said we're gonna give them a negative determination, but go ahead.
okay. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the mass, well, if
Oh,
this
actually, you
is
don't have to read
continued,
it.
that's right. I don't
You don't have to
need-
read it.
No, it's
Yep.
right, okay. Glenn Priolo, okay. Right.
So this was the one where the wetlands were off the property, remember, and that we didn't see any flags?
Yeah.
And instead of making them, flag wetlands off the property, which they're really not supposed to do theoretically, he put a stake out into where the project work was going on, and it was outside the 100-foot.
This,
So that's basically what
is
they
this
wanted,
the
was,
thing next to the bog?
yeah, that was gonna be the 40B, next to Weston's bog.
It's, yeah, over 55, not
55.
40.
Yeah.
Over 55.
Right, not 40 feet.
40.
Oh, yeah, well, it could be a 40 beach.
All right, so what do we need here?
It was gonna be a 40B at one
Okay,
time.
we need a motion to issue a
Negative?
Negative determination.
determination.
I'll make a motion that we make a negative determination on the RDA for Lot 8 Plymouth Street.
And then I just said, put a condition that if anything changes, with the project work, that's within, they have to come back to
Right.
us.
I'll second that.
But it didn't
You have
seem
a
like
second
there was
on that?
anything.
Yeah.
No.
So it's been moved and seconded to issue a negative determination on the matter for Lot 8 Plymouth Street. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's passed unanimously.
Is that what you call it, passed? Unanimous?
Passed
I
unanimously.
don't know, sometimes, I thought we did
We
something
usually
else
do,
one
oh, do you usually
time.
do the numbers?
Because it was, I do, but I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
because it was
You can wake up now,
negative.
buddy.
Gotta go.
Oh, no, it's a negative
It's not
determination.
passed.
I already read
No,
it.
Still- it's
no, no.
still-
It's
No,
not.
when
No,
when it's
it's not.
denied, no, it's called a negative determination. You have a positive determination and a negative one.
All right.
We're giving them a negative
Still
one, yep,
passed.
which is good for them.
Well, which is retarded if you think about it,
Right.
but that's how it works.
Because when you have to say, oh, you get in a negative determination, people go, I
Yeah,
am.
I think about that. A negative determination, it's like
I know, it is
It's
kind
an
of weird.
oxymoron.
you got turned down. No, you
Just
won.
done by
It was
a moron.
negative.
And that's what you
do mean
want.
I won?
I know, because people go, just don't worry about it. That's what you want. Get out.
Yeah.
I have to do
Okay,
the-
do we have any further business?
No.
Minutes,
No, no.
minutes.
Oh, I already read them. Time to go.
Well, then we're good to go.
That's it.
Okay,
So are you okay with that?
to be read and approved for October 3rd. Minutes from October 3rd. Lass uns dieses Leben.
A lot
Yeah.
there.
Now it's too late for you.
It's like 4 pages.
Well, Tim can't vote on it anyway.
Yeah?
That's right.
On
He
what?
wasn't here.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, you were. Oh, absent, Tim Dempsey, you weren't here.
I think that's the first meeting I've ever
you
missed.
could, you could still look at them though, couldn't you?
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
look
I
at
can,
it.
And see if you
can't
saw
vote on it.
anything that looked
He can
weird.
actually make
He
changes to
can,
him.
no, he abstains.
He can't vote.
He can't make any changes?
Yeah, I can't do that.
Right,
Can't
he
touch
can
it.
bring it to our attention, and we.
Oh,
right,
okay, yeah.
Okay.
I'm out of it.
Oh, actually, I noticed
I think that's the first.
Josh
meeting.
Farkas on second page of the
Is that
minutes. It's just spelled wrong.
Wait a minute, let me,
Yeah.
open them up and fix it right now.
Okay.
What is it?
It's Farkes. It's Farks. Not Farkas.
A lot of times it's the way they write.
Farkes.
Yeah, so it's
Is that
Farks.
the one you
Yeah.
spelled?
I don't know, I think it's in a place where you've said his whole name,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I get surgery Monday. Great.
Okay. So that's the only change we seem to see.
Mm-hmm.
Pesky, P-E-S-C-I?
CE, I
Oh,
think.
the engineer? P-E-S-C-E, wasn't it?
Yeah.
P-E-S-C-I.
I'll make
I
a
like him, though.
motion.
He just,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction noted.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as amended. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention. Okay.
I thought he did a nice job with those plans, though.
Yep.
Don't you think, that engineer?
I can't vote on it.
You can do the motion to adjourn.
No,
You're an
I'm
abstention.
having too much fun. I'm not a journal.
Okay, now, Mr. Pesci, that is fish. That's fish.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Say aye, will you? So we can go? Can you say aye so we can go? You think?
Oh, you want to stay here all night?
Okay. Pass unanimous.